I would love it if somebody rewrote the lyrics to the song Wrecking Ball so they're about this book. It's Greg Heffley, read his diary. He complains oh so much. He is quite snarky, hangs out with Rolly, doesn't want the cheese touch. I came in like a wimpy kid, since I never fit in well I hid. You can read about the things I did in my diary. Oh yeah, my diary. The lyrics need work, but you get the idea. Argo Font Book Review, Argo Font Book Review. Greg has a yard sale to get rid of all the junk in his closet. Things go badly when he overprices Mom. Rolly's offended that everything he's given Greg is labeled as a gift for nerds. Some random guy steals stuff, using the excuse that, well, if something's close to the curb, I can totally take it. The entire thing gets rained out, leaving Greg with nothing. I was going to make a joke that Greg failed in his yard sale because he's too greedy and wants lots of money for useless garbage, but I've definitely seen yard sales like that in real life. Plus, I like Greg's idea of having socks with mystery items. Greg dreams of being a famous hero with his own holiday, Wimpy Kid Day. He doesn't want to deal with the paparazzi, so he's going to build a huge underground mansion with cool stuff like a giant aquarium, laser tag arena, bowling alley, and archery range? Huh, I didn't think Greg was into bowling or archery. When Great Aunt Reba dies, the family goes to her funeral. This makes Greg think of death and heaven and vampires, naturally. The boys are super excited to hear Great Aunt Reba left the family a decent sum of money. Everybody has silly ideas about what they should do with the money. Mom suggests adding something to the house. Again, everyone comes up with silly ideas, like an arcade and a pool filled with chocolate pudding. Mom suggests building an extra large kitchen just for her. She gets mad when nobody else likes that idea, and she stomps out of the room. I'm not sure why Mom thought spending all the money on herself would be a popular choice. Either way, I found it painfully ironic that Mom is so mad at the boys for being selfish, because they don't let her be selfish. Greg says when Rolly first moved into the neighborhood, Greg offered to trade houses with him, because it's only fair that the larger house belongs to the family with more kids. That's not the way Rolly told the story in the Awesome Friendly Kid book. Dad tries to teach Greg how to do home improvement. Greg is such a wimp. When he sees hair in the drain, he runs and hides, because he thinks it's a terrifying monster called the Grout. Greg makes an offhand comment that he had no idea doors could be removed, which is wrong. He and Roderick switched doors in book 2. Continuity! Roderick leaves in the middle of cleaning the gutters, so Greg is stuck on the roof. Greg tries climbing in through the bathroom window. He gets his foot stuck in the toilet when Mom's taking a shower. It's super gross and it brings a swift end to the home improvement work. Construction work begins on the kitchen addition. Greg doesn't like the idea of strangers using his bathroom. The construction workers prank Greg at first, but he becomes popular when he gives everyone a sandwich. At least until he messes up a sandwich, and then there's a big fight over the missing sandwich. The neighbors hate the construction because it's too noisy, while Greg loves having a dumpster right outside his bedroom window. So convenient. There's a complication when they discover toxic mold and a mouse infestation. Why can't they have fun animals like koalas? Roderick is so checked out he doesn't even notice when he drives over wet concrete. The worst part is when the building inspector says the addition is off by 3 feet. They don't have enough money to start over. The best they can do is tear down the addition and leave the house just like it was when it started, with hopefully less mold and mice. Mom suggests moving somewhere with better schools. Greg thinks it could be cool to make a new identity for himself. A new best friend would be great, too. Rolly doesn't draw noses, his house doesn't have enough junk food, and Rolly always complains that Greg doesn't share video games. Sounds more like Rolly is the one who needs a best friend. The Heffleys find the perfect house to move into. They have to sell their old house first. Mom's offended when a realtor says there's lots of problems with the house which need fixing. Mom decides, forget realtors, she's gonna sell the house herself. Mom is offended again when random strangers paw through the house and complain about everything, while Greg's more concerned about little kids touching his stuff. When Rolly learns Greg is moving, he cries incessantly. Greg tries to be tolerant here, but it's not long before Greg complains Rolly is really annoying. There's a sweet moment at the family's goodbye party where Greg and Rolly both cry because they'll miss each other. Disaster strikes when the moving truck shows up a week early. They rush to get everything packed in time. That's when a man with a crane shows up to remove their hot tub. He accidentally breaks their couch and their chimney. He drops the hot tub, which crashes through the roof all the way down to the basement, totally destroying the house. So I guess they're not moving after all. The end. Post-book follow-up. This book got backlash from people who actually wanted to see Greg move away. They didn't like how the book reset the entire story in the last 2 pages. In the author's defense, this has happened several times before, including the previous book. Both books where Greg and Rolly stopped being friends, and the time Uncle Gary won the lottery. I wish the series would give us emotionally satisfying endings that properly conclude the stories, instead of hitting the reset button on the second to last page all the time. I disliked this book's ending less than some of those other ones I mentioned, because this ending is preceded by 10 pages of pretty good slapstick humor. I can pretend the house getting destroyed was the real ending, instead of admitting the book ended with a Roderick fell asleep joke, ho ho ho, haven't seen one of those before, and then a swift return to the status quo. As I indicated, Mom was extra mean and selfish in this book. She acts a lot like Greg does when he's at his worst. Same with the neighbors. Greg came across as pretty bad too, because he spends a fair amount of time being mean to Rolly. It would have suited the book better if Greg was nice to Rolly the whole time, instead of just on page 202. I did like the book, it's funny and entertaining. Most of the stories and jokes are winners. I do think the book messed up the emotional core of the story, with a sizable story about moving away for good, which ended up being a lazy fake out. I'll take a point away for that ending and for how the moving away story was handled in general, especially when it comes to the fan favorite character of Rolly. I give Diary of a Wimpy Kid number 14, Wrecking Ball, an 8 out of 10.